Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is all about a concept that sounds almost too good to be true. The art of not trying, how to achieve everything you want effortlessly. Now, I know what you're thinking. Achieve everything I want without trying? That sounds impossible. But trust me, this idea is rooted in an age-old philosophy and has been practiced for centuries. We live in a world that constantly tells us to hustle harder, push through, and never stop grinding. And while hard work has its place, there's a different approach, one that focuses on doing things in a way that feels natural, balanced, and effortless. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Inspired by Stoic philosophy and other great thinkers, we'll dive into how you can actually achieve more by doing less, and how letting go of the need to control every little detail can lead to incredible outcomes. If you've ever felt burned out, stuck, or overwhelmed by life's demands, then this episode is for you. And remember, if you enjoy the content or find it helpful, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Now, let's get into it. 1. Embracing effortless action, letting go of forceful control. So let's talk about the idea of effortless action. It sounds like a paradox, right? After all, we've always been told that if we want to achieve something, we have to work really hard for it. But what if that wasn't always the case? What if letting go of forceful control and allowing things to flow naturally could actually help you achieve more with less stress? This is the essence of effortless action, achieving results without constantly forcing outcomes. The power of letting go. When we try too hard to control every aspect of our lives, we often create unnecessary tension and stress. Imagine trying to paddle upstream in a river. No matter how hard you work, the current keeps pushing against you, making every move exhausting. But what if, instead, you let go of the paddle and flowed with the river's natural current? That's what effortless action is all about. Working with the flow of life instead of constantly battling against it. Let's say you have a big project at work. Your natural instinct might be to overthink every detail, stay up all night perfecting it, and constantly worry about whether it'll be good enough. But by the time you actually finish the project, you're burned out, stressed, and exhausted. Now, imagine approaching that same project with a different mindset, one that allows you to do your best without obsessing over every single step. You stay focused, but you also trust that things will work out as they should. By the end of the project, not only do you produce great work, but you also feel more balanced and relaxed. Stoic philosophy on effortless action. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control and let go of the things that aren't. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." This means doing what you can with the resources and abilities you have, but without getting overly attached to the outcome. When we try to control every detail, we're acting out of fear and anxiety. But when we let go of what's not in our power, we open ourselves up to the possibility of things working out naturally, often in ways we never expected. Take relationships, for example. Have you ever tried to force a friendship or a romantic relationship to work? Maybe you constantly reached out to the other person, went out of your way to make them happy, and overanalyzed every little interaction. But despite all your effort, things just didn't feel right or flow naturally. Now think about the relationships that just clicked, the ones where you didn't have to force anything and everything felt easy. That's the power of letting go and allowing things to unfold naturally. Finding balance between effort and surrender. Effortless action isn't about doing nothing or being passive. It's about finding the balance between putting in effort and knowing when to step back and let things flow. There's a time to act and a time to allow. It's about understanding that not every situation requires maximum effort or overthinking. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is take a step back, trust the process, and let things develop in their own time. A practical way to practice effortless action is to focus on intentions over outcomes. Instead of obsessing over whether you'll get the perfect result, put your energy into doing your best in the present moment. If you're working on a project, focus on the process of creating it, not on whether it will be praised or criticized. If you're trying to build a healthier lifestyle, focus on developing good habits day by day, not on obsessing over the end goal. Real-life example, going with the flow. Imagine you're planning a big event, a wedding, a party, or even a vacation. You want everything to go perfectly, so you plan every detail down to the minute. But then, something goes wrong. The weather doesn't cooperate, the caterer cancels, or your travel plans change unexpectedly. You start to panic, thinking that all your hard work has gone to waste. But what if you approached the situation differently? What if, instead of stressing over things outside of your control, you allowed yourself to be flexible, to adapt, and to enjoy the experience no matter what happened? By going with the flow, you're not giving up control. You're exercising a different kind of control, one that allows you to adjust and thrive, even when things don't go exactly as planned. You're making the most of what you have, which is ultimately the most effective way to approach any challenge. Learning to trust the process. One of the hardest parts of embracing effortless action is learning to trust the process. Trusting that things will work out doesn't mean being passive. It means believing that your efforts, combined with the natural flow of life, will lead to the right outcome. This trust allows you to stay open to new opportunities, to be flexible in your approach, and to find joy in the journey rather than just the destination. The next time you find yourself stressing over something, ask yourself, am I paddling upstream or am I going with the flow? If you find that you're trying too hard to control the situation, take a step back, breathe, and remind yourself that sometimes the best action is no action. Allow things to unfold, and you might be surprised by how effortlessly everything falls into place. The art of non-attachment, letting go of outcomes. One of the most challenging aspects of life is learning to let go, especially when it comes to outcomes, whether it's a big goal you're working toward, a relationship you're invested in, or a situation where you want things to go a certain way. It's easy to become attached to how things should turn out. But here's the truth. Holding on too tightly to a desired outcome often creates more stress, anxiety, and disappointment than anything else. The key is to master the art of non-attachment. What is non-attachment? Non-attachment doesn't mean you don't care about what happens. It means you're not emotionally tied to a specific result. It's about doing your best in any given situation, putting in effort, but not letting your happiness or peace depend on how things turn out. Imagine you plant a seed in your garden. You water it, make sure it gets enough sunlight, and tend to it daily. But once you've done your part, you can't force it to grow. You have to trust the process and let nature take its course. This is non-attachment in action, putting in your best effort, but understanding that you can't control every detail of the outcome. And when things don't go as expected, you can adapt, learn, and move on without being paralyzed by disappointment. A Stoic approach to letting go. The Stoics had a term called amor fati, which means love of fate. This concept encourages embracing whatever happens, whether it aligns with your plans or not. The idea is that life is unpredictable and things don't always go according to plan. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." In other words, when you let go of how you think things should be, you open yourself up to appreciating things as they are. For example, say you're working hard for a promotion at work. You're doing everything right, putting in extra hours, meeting all your targets, and going above and beyond. But despite all your effort, someone else gets the promotion. It's natural to feel disappointed, but non-attachment teaches you to accept that outcome with grace. You did your best, but the decision wasn't in your hands. By not being attached to the result, you can continue to perform well, grow, and stay open to new opportunities that might even be better than the one you originally wanted. Non-attachment versus indifference. It's important to understand that non-attachment is not the same as indifference. Non-attachment is about being fully engaged in what you're doing, but not letting your self-worth or happiness depend on how things turn out. Indifference, on the other hand, means not caring at all. When you practice non-attachment, you care deeply, but you also recognize that you can't control every variable in life. You let things unfold without clinging to a specific outcome. Think about relationships for a moment. Many of us have had experiences where we care deeply about someone, but the more we try to force things to go a certain way, whether it's trying to make someone love us back or making a friendship work when it's not meant to, the more things seem to slip through our fingers. But when we let go, when we allow relationships to develop naturally, without pressure or expectations, they often become more genuine, fulfilling, and meaningful. Practical steps to practice non-attachment. So how can you start letting go of outcomes? Here are a few practical steps. Focus on the process, not the result. Whatever you're working on, put your energy into the actions you can control, your effort, your attitude, your approach, rather than stressing about the final outcome. Stay open to change. Life rarely goes according to plan, and that's okay. Learn to see changes as opportunities rather than obstacles. When one door closes, another one opens, but you have to be willing to let go of the closed door to see the one that's opening. Reflect on past experiences. Think about a time when you were deeply attached to an outcome and things didn't go as planned. Did your attachment help the situation, or did it create more stress and frustration? Reflecting on past experiences can help you see the benefits of practicing non-attachment. Real life. Example: a job interview that didn't go as expected. Imagine you've just gone through the interview process for a job you really want. You prepare for weeks, practice your answers, and give it your all during the interview. But after all that effort, you don't get the job. Now, you could let that outcome define you. You could feel like a failure, question your worth, or dwell on what you could have done differently. But by practicing non-attachment, you accept that you did your best, and the decision was ultimately out of your hands. You move on to the next opportunity without letting that one outcome hold you back. And often, when we let go of attachment to one specific outcome, better things come our way. Maybe the job you didn't get leads you to another opportunity that's an even better fit for your skills and passions. Or maybe the process of interviewing helps you learn and grow in ways you didn't expect. Letting go as a path to freedom. Ultimately, practicing non-attachment is about freedom. Freedom from the need to control everything, freedom from disappointment when things don't go as planned, and freedom to enjoy life's journey with all its ups and downs. It's about learning to say, "I'll do my best, and whatever happens, happens." The next time you find yourself clinging to a certain outcome, take a deep breath and remind yourself that you're only responsible for your actions, not the results. And in that space of letting go, you'll find a new kind of peace, one that allows you to live fully in the present, enjoy the process, and trust that whatever happens, you'll be okay. 3. Finding flow, the state of effortless productivity. Have you ever been so absorbed in something that you lost track of time? Maybe you were working on a project you're passionate about, playing a sport, or even getting lost in a good book. That state of total immersion and focus, where everything seems to come naturally and you're not consciously thinking about your actions, is what we call flow. And achieving flow is one of the best ways to accomplish things effortlessly, without stress or overthinking. What is flow and why is it important? Flow is a mental state where you're fully involved in an activity to the point where you lose awareness of anything else. You're not thinking about how well you're doing, how much time has passed, or what's going on around you. You're just doing. In this state, your actions feel effortless, your creativity is enhanced, and you're able to perform at your best without being weighed down by distractions or self-doubt. The concept of flow was developed by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who found that people are most productive, creative, and happy when they're in this state. In a way, flow is the perfect balance between challenge and skill. The activity is engaging enough to keep you focused, but not so difficult that it overwhelms you. When you find that balance, work doesn't feel like work anymore. It feels like play, and time seems to fly by. The Stoic take on flow and presence. The Stoics emphasized living in the present moment and fully engaging with whatever you're doing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do every act of your life as though it were the last act of your life." This means being fully present, giving your best effort to the task at hand, and not letting your mind wander to the past or the future. Flow is essentially this same idea, being so fully present in what you're doing that you're not distracted by worries, regrets, or expectations. In a way, flow is about letting go of self-consciousness. When you're fully immersed in an activity, you're not second-guessing yourself, judging your performance, or over-analyzing your actions. You're simply in the moment. And when you remove those mental barriers, you can unlock a whole new level of productivity and creativity that feels effortless. How to find flow in everyday life. So how can you achieve a state of flow more often? It's not something that just happens randomly. It's a state that you can cultivate with the right conditions and mindset. Here are some tips to help you find flow in your everyday life. Choose tasks that challenge you but aren't overwhelming. Flow happens when you're doing something that requires skill and concentration, but isn't so hard that it causes anxiety. If you're bored, the task is too easy. If you're frustrated, it's too hard. Find activities that are in that sweet spot where you feel challenged but capable. Remove distractions. Flow requires focus. turn off notifications, find a quiet space, and set boundaries to ensure you won't be interrupted while you're working on something important. Set clear goals. It's easier to get into a state of flow when you know what you're working toward. Setting small, achievable goals for each work session can help you stay focused and engaged. Practice mindfulness. Flow is all about being in the present moment, and mindfulness practices like meditation or deep breathing can help you develop that ability to focus on the here and now. Real-life example: getting into flow with a creative project. Imagine you're a writer working on a novel. At first, it might feel like a daunting task, staring at a blank page, unsure of what to write. But once you start writing, you find yourself getting lost in the story, the characters, and the world you're creating. Hours go by without you even noticing, and when you finally take a break, you realize you've written more than you expected, and it feels like the words flowed effortlessly from your mind to the page. That's the magic of flow. By immersing yourself fully in the process and letting go of perfectionism or self-doubt, you're able to create something meaningful without feeling like it's a chore. And the best part? You feel a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction from the work itself, not just from the end result. The role of passion in achieving flow. It's much easier to find flow when you're working on something you're passionate about. When you genuinely enjoy what you're doing, it's easier to become absorbed in the activity and enter that state of effortless action. Think about hobbies or interests that you could spend hours doing without getting bored, whether it's painting, playing an instrument, coding, or cooking. These are the activities where you're most likely to find flow, because they naturally engage your mind and body in a way that feels joyful and rewarding. But here's the good news. Even if you're working on something you're not naturally passionate about, you can still find ways to make it more engaging and conducive to flow. Try setting small challenges for yourself, gamifying the task, or finding aspects of the work that you can connect with on a personal level. Letting go of the need to force flow. It's important to note that you can't force flow to happen. Trying to make yourself get into flow can actually have the opposite effect, creating pressure and anxiety that keep you from fully immersing yourself in the task. Instead, approach your work with a sense of openness, curiosity, and playfulness. Allow yourself to get lost in the process, and flow will often happen naturally. For instance, if you're a student studying for an exam, trying to cram all the information in with a sense of urgency and stress will only make it harder to focus. But if you break your study sessions into manageable chunks, create an environment that's conducive to concentration, and focus on genuinely understanding the material rather than just memorizing it, you're more likely to find that state of flow where learning becomes enjoyable and effective. Conclusion: living life in flow. Flow isn't just a state that helps you be more productive. It's a way to live a more fulfilling life. By focusing on the present moment, fully engaging in what you're doing, and letting go of distractions and self-doubt, you can accomplish more with less effort and find greater joy in the process. It's about doing things with intention, passion, and presence. Whether you're working on a project, spending time with loved ones, or simply going about your daily routine. The next time you find yourself struggling to focus or feeling overwhelmed by a task, remember to set the right conditions for flow. Find that balance between challenge and skill, remove distractions, and allow yourself to be fully immersed in the experience. When you do, you'll discover that the art of not trying is really about doing things with ease, grace, and joy. 4. Detachment from approval, letting go of what others think. One of the most difficult but rewarding lessons in life is learning how to detach yourself from other people's opinions. It's natural to want to be liked, to be understood, and to seek approval from those around us. But when we tie our self-worth to how others see us, we end up constantly trying to fit into their expectations, often losing sight of who we truly are in the process. Learning to let go of the need for approval is a powerful way to free yourself and start living authentically. Why we seek approval and how it holds us back. From a young age, we're taught to seek approval. As children, we look to our parents for praise and validation. As we grow older, that desire for approval extends to our friends, teachers, colleagues, and even strangers on the internet. It feels good to be liked, to be complimented, and to have others agree with us. But the truth is, no matter how hard you try, you'll never please everyone. And that's okay. When we base our happiness on what others think, we're giving away our power. We become like a ship without a rudder, constantly swayed by other people's opinions, praise, or criticism. Imagine you have a goal that you're passionate about, starting a business, changing careers, or even posting your artwork online. You feel excited and driven, but then someone makes a negative comment or doubts your abilities. That one comment is enough to make you second-guess yourself, to question your dreams, and to hold back from pursuing what you truly want. The Stoic view on approval and self-worth. Stoic philosophy teaches that we should focus on our own character, actions, and values, rather than seeking approval from others. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own." The Stoics understood that being overly concerned with what others think can lead to unnecessary stress, anxiety, and inner conflict. Instead of looking for validation from the outside, the Stoics encourage us to develop inner confidence, a sense of self-worth that comes from living in alignment with our values and knowing that we're doing our best, regardless of whether others approve. When you detach yourself from the need for approval, you're able to make decisions based on what feels right to you, not on what you think will please others. And that's true freedom. How to start letting go of the need for approval. Letting go of approval isn't something that happens overnight. It's a practice that requires mindfulness and self-reflection. Here are some steps to help you detach from the need for validation from others. Know your values. Get clear on what matters to you. What do you stand for? What are your goals and passions? When you're anchored in your own values, it becomes easier to make choices that align with who you are, regardless of what others think. Practice self-affirmation. Start validating yourself rather than waiting for others to do it. Remind yourself of your strengths, your achievements, and the progress you've made. The more you affirm your own worth, the less you'll rely on external approval to feel good about yourself. Accept that not everyone will like you. It's impossible to make everyone happy, and trying to do so will only make you lose yourself. Accept that some people will disagree with you, judge you, or misunderstand you, and that's okay. Your job isn't to be liked by everyone, it's to live authentically and be true to yourself. Real-life example: sharing your passions despite criticism. Let's say you have a creative hobby. Maybe you love painting, playing music, or writing poetry. You're passionate about it and would love to share it with the world, but the fear of criticism or rejection holds you back. You might think, what if people don't like my work? What if they judge me? This fear keeps you stuck, hiding your talents and passions because you're seeking the approval of others. But what happens when you let go of that need for approval? When you share your work with the world, not because you want praise, but because it brings you joy and fulfillment? By detaching from other people's opinions, you open yourself up to new opportunities, growth, and connections. And often you'll find that those who truly resonate with your work will support and appreciate you in ways you never expected. Learning to take constructive feedback without attachment. Detaching from approval doesn't mean ignoring all feedback or refusing to listen to others. There's a big difference between seeking validation and being open to constructive criticism. When you're not attached to the need for approval, you can view feedback as an opportunity to learn and grow, rather than as a reflection of your self-worth. For example, if someone gives you feedback on your work or offers advice on how to improve, you can take that feedback with an open mind and decide whether it aligns with your goals. But if their opinion doesn't resonate with you or doesn't add value to what you're doing, you can let it go without taking it personally. This way you're able to learn from others while staying true to yourself. Detaching from approval in social media and modern life. In today's world, social media has made it easier than ever to seek approval. A single post can generate hundreds of likes, comments, and opinions, and it's easy to get caught up in how others perceive you online. But it's important to remember that social media is just a snapshot of people's lives, not the full picture. Likes and comments don't define your worth, and the opinions of strangers online don't determine your value as a person. If you find yourself obsessing over how your posts are received, or feeling down because you didn't get as many likes as you hoped, try taking a step back. Ask yourself, am I sharing this because it's meaningful to me, or am I sharing it for the approval of others? By focusing on sharing things that you care about, rather than things you think will get the most attention, you'll find more joy in expressing yourself authentically. Conclusion: living authentically, not for approval. At the end of the day, learning to detach from approval is about living life on your own terms. It's about understanding that your self-worth isn't defined by how many people like you, agree with you, or praise you. It's defined by who you are, the choices you make, and how you show up in the world. The next time you find yourself seeking validation or worrying about what others think, take a deep breath and remind yourself that you're enough just as you are. Trust in your own values, follow your passions, and let go of the need to be approved by anyone else. When you live authentically, true to yourself, you'll attract the right people and opportunities, and that's far more valuable than any external validation could ever be. The power of surrender, allowing life to happen. We're often taught to fight, strive, and push our way to success, but there's also immense power in surrender, letting go of the need to control every detail and allowing life to unfold as it will. Surrender doesn't mean giving up on your dreams or being passive. It means trusting the process, accepting the present moment, and understanding that not everything needs to be forced. In many ways, surrender is about learning how to flow with life instead of constantly fighting against it. Why surrendering can lead to greater success. You might think that surrendering sounds like weakness or defeat, but it's actually the opposite. Surrendering is an act of strength. It's a conscious choice to let go of what you can't control and focus your energy on what you can. When you stop trying to micromanage every aspect of your life, you free up mental and emotional space to focus on what truly matters. Think about times when you've tried to force something to happen, a job you desperately wanted, a relationship you were trying to make work, or a situation you were trying to control. The more you pushed, the more resistance you faced. And that's because life has its own rhythm, its own timing. When you surrender, you're not giving up on your goals. You're simply releasing the need to have everything happen exactly the way you envision it. You're opening yourself up to new possibilities and allowing things to unfold naturally. Stoic philosophy on surrender and acceptance. The Stoics teach us that acceptance is key to inner peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Receive without conceit, release without struggle." This means accepting whatever comes your way with grace and letting go of what doesn't serve you without resistance. It's about understanding that there are things in life that are beyond your control, and no amount of worrying, forcing, or resisting will change that. Imagine you're a sailor on the open sea. You can't control the wind, the waves, or the weather. But what you can control is how you navigate, adjusting your sails, steering your boat, and adapting to the changing conditions. Surrender is about accepting that you can't control the ocean, but you can make the most of your journey across it. How to practice surrender in your daily life. Surrender is a practice that can be applied in small, everyday situations, as well as in major life decisions. Here's how you can start incorporating surrender into your life. Trust the timing of your life. Sometimes we want things to happen on our own timeline, but life often has different plans. Trust that things will unfold when they're meant to, and try not to rush or force the process. Release the need for perfection. It's easy to get caught up in trying to make everything perfect, whether it's a project at work, a social event, or even your own self-improvement journey. But perfectionism often leads to stress and burnout. Instead, aim for progress, not perfection, and allow yourself to be human. Stay present. Surrendering is all about being in the present moment. When you find yourself worrying about the future or obsessing over the past, bring your focus back to the here and now. What can you do today, in this moment, to move forward? Let go of the rest. Real-life example: letting go of control in relationships. Relationships are one of the biggest areas where surrender can make a huge difference. Think about a time when you tried to control the outcome of a relationship. Maybe you wanted to make sure things worked out a certain way, or you felt anxious about where it was headed. The more you tried to control it, the more stressed and overwhelmed you felt, and sometimes the more distant the other person became. But when you practice surrender in relationships, you let go of the need to have everything go perfectly. You allow the relationship to develop naturally without trying to force a specific outcome. If things are meant to work out, they will, and if they don't, you're free to let go and move on with grace, knowing that you did your best without trying to control what was never fully in your power. Surrendering to the unpredictability of life. Life is unpredictable. No matter how much we plan, prepare, or hope for a certain outcome, things don't always go as expected. And while that unpredictability can be scary, it can also be beautiful. When you surrender, you open yourself up to the unknown, to opportunities, experiences, and lessons that you might never have encountered if you'd held on too tightly to one specific path. Imagine you're planning a trip. You map out every detail: the flights, the accommodations, the sightseeing, But then something unexpected happens. Maybe you miss a flight, your hotel reservation falls through, or the weather doesn't cooperate. You could stress out, panic, and feel like your whole trip is ruined. Or you could surrender to the situation, adapt to the changes, and make the most of the unexpected. Often, those spontaneous, unplanned moments are the most memorable and rewarding parts of the journey. Surrender as a path to inner peace. Surrendering allows you to find peace in situations that would otherwise cause stress and anxiety. It doesn't mean that you don't care or that you're giving up. It means you're letting go of the need to control things that are outside of your power. You're trusting that life will unfold as it's meant to, and you're focusing on what you can do in the present moment. A great way to practice surrender is to start with small things. If you're stuck in traffic, surrender to the fact that you can't make the cars move any faster. If someone cancels plans at the last minute, surrender to the change and use the time for something else you enjoy. Over time, as you practice surrender in small situations, you'll find it easier to let go in bigger moments as well. Conclusion: embracing the power of letting go. Surrender is one of the most powerful tools for finding peace, balance, and joy in life. It's about recognizing that you don't have to control everything to be happy. By letting go of the need to force outcomes, you create space for life to surprise you in beautiful ways. You allow yourself to flow with the natural rhythm of things, trusting that even when things don't go according to plan, they often work out exactly as they're meant to. So the next time you find yourself feeling overwhelmed, stressed, or trying to force a situation to go a certain way, remember the power of surrender. Let go, breathe, and allow life to unfold. You might just find that when you stop trying to control everything, everything falls into place more effortlessly than you ever imagined. The power of patience, allowing progress to unfold naturally. In our fast-paced world, we're constantly bombarded with messages to go faster, work harder, and achieve more in less time. It's easy to feel like we're falling behind or not doing enough, especially when we compare our progress to others. But one of the most underrated skills you can cultivate is patience, the ability to trust in the timing of your life and allow progress to unfold naturally. Why patience leads to better results. Patience isn't just about waiting for something to happen. It's about developing a mindset that's willing to let things take their course. When you're patient, you're able to stay focused on the process without rushing the outcome. You allow yourself to grow, learn, and make steady progress, without feeling the constant pressure to arrive at your goals immediately. Think about it like planting a tree. You can't force it to grow faster by pulling on its branches or shouting at it to get taller. You plant the seed, water it, give it sunlight, and let nature do its thing. Eventually, with consistent care and time, that tree will grow strong and tall. The same goes for your personal goals, relationships, and self-improvement journey. Patience allows you to nurture your growth without being obsessed with instant results. Stoic philosophy on patience and long-term perspective. The Stoics understood the importance of patience and taking a long-term view of life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen." This quote reminds us that every process has its stages, and that trying to rush through them can actually hinder our progress. In today's world, we often want immediate results, whether it's building a business, developing a skill, or improving our health. But the Stoics teach that real growth takes time, effort, and most importantly, patience. When you embrace patience, you're able to stay committed to your journey without being disheartened by temporary setbacks or slow progress. You understand that good things take time, and you're willing to invest in the journey rather than just the destination. How to practice patience in your daily life. Practicing patience requires a shift in mindset. It's about learning to appreciate the journey and not just the outcome. Here's how you can start cultivating patience in your life. Break your goals into smaller steps. One reason we get impatient is because we set big, lofty goals and expect to achieve them overnight. Instead, break your goals into smaller, manageable steps. Celebrate each small win along the way and recognize that progress is being made, even if it's slower than you'd like. Be mindful of the present moment. Impatience often comes from focusing too much on the future, on where you want to be, rather than where you are. Practice mindfulness by bringing your attention back to the present moment. Appreciate the effort you're putting in today, and trust that the future will unfold as it's meant to. Reframe setbacks as opportunities for growth. When things don't go according to plan, it's easy to get frustrated and impatient. But what if you viewed setbacks as opportunities to learn and grow? By reframing challenges as part of the journey, you'll find it easier to stay patient and keep moving forward. Real-life example: developing a skill over time. Let's say you want to learn a new language. At first it feels exciting. You buy language books, download apps, and start practicing every day. But after a few weeks, you realize that you're not making progress as quickly as you'd hoped. You're still struggling with basic vocabulary, and the idea of becoming fluent seems like a distant dream. In moments like this, it's easy to become impatient and give up. But when you practice patience, you understand that language learning is a long-term process. It requires consistent practice, effort, and time. By setting small, achievable goals, like learning 5 new words a day or practicing conversation with a language partner once a week, you can celebrate the small wins and stay motivated. Over time, you'll find that your patience pays off, and what once seemed impossible becomes second nature. Patience and self-improvement. Patience is especially important when it comes to self-improvement. Whether you're trying to build better habits, overcome a personal challenge, or develop a new mindset, change doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process that requires consistent effort and a willingness to accept setbacks as part of the journey. For example, if you're working on building healthier habits, like exercising regularly, eating better, or meditating daily, it's important to be patient with yourself. There will be days when you miss a workout, eat something unhealthy, or skip your meditation practice. But those slip-ups don't define your progress. What matters is that you keep showing up, day after day, with patience and self-compassion. Over time, those small, consistent actions will lead to lasting change. Letting go of the need for immediate gratification. In a world of instant gratification, patience can feel like a foreign concept. We're used to getting what we want quickly, whether it's information, entertainment, or even material possessions. But when it comes to meaningful goals and personal growth, instant results are rarely achievable. Patience teaches us to delay gratification, to stay committed to our vision, and to trust that the work we're putting in today will pay off in the future. If you find yourself getting impatient or frustrated because you're not where you want to be yet, try to shift your focus to the progress you've made rather than how far you have left to go. Celebrate your small victories And remind yourself that every step forward, no matter how small, is bringing you closer to your goal. Conclusion: embracing the journey with patience. Patience is more than just a virtue. It's a powerful tool for achieving your goals and living a more peaceful, balanced life. By learning to be patient with yourself, with others, and with the timing of life, you allow progress to unfold naturally without forcing or rushing. You learn to trust that everything happens in its own time, and that true growth requires a willingness to embrace the process. So the next time you find yourself feeling impatient, remember to breathe, take a step back, and remind yourself that progress is a journey, not a sprint. Be patient with your efforts, trust in the process, and know that with time, dedication, and a little bit of patience, you'll achieve more than you ever thought possible. 7. Cultivating gratitude, finding joy in the present moment. We often think of gratitude as a simple act, being thankful for what we have. But in reality, gratitude is a powerful mindset that can transform the way you see the world, and it plays a key role in achieving more with less effort. When you learn to find joy in what's already in front of you, life feels more fulfilling, and you stop chasing after things that don't actually bring you lasting happiness. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, and in doing so, it helps you achieve a state of effortless joy. The power of gratitude in everyday life. It's easy to take things for granted: our health, our relationships, the opportunities we have. We get so caught up in striving for the next goal, the next achievement, or the next material possession that we forget to appreciate what we already have. But gratitude is like a lens through which you can see the world more clearly. When you practice gratitude, you start to notice the small things that bring you joy. A warm cup of coffee in the morning, the support of a good friend, a walk in the park. Imagine waking up each day with a mindset of gratitude. Instead of immediately thinking about all the things you need to do, all the ways life could be better, or all the goals you have yet to achieve, you take a moment to appreciate what's going well. You recognize the little wins, the moments of peace, and the people who make your life richer. This doesn't just make you happier, it also helps you approach life with a more positive, open attitude. A Stoic approach to gratitude and acceptance. Gratitude is a concept deeply embedded in Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed in accepting life as it is and being thankful for what you have. Marcus Aurelius advised, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." This perspective encourages us to find joy in the simple fact of being alive, to see each day as a gift, and to focus on what we can control. The Stoics also practiced a concept called negative visualization, imagining what life would be like without the things you currently have. While this might sound counterintuitive, it's a powerful way to cultivate gratitude. When you think about losing something, a loved one, your health, your job, you start to appreciate it even more. This practice helps you see how much you have to be grateful for, even in difficult times. How to practice gratitude in your life. Gratitude is a skill that can be developed, and it starts with small daily habits. Here are some ways to cultivate gratitude and make it a regular part of your life. Start a gratitude journal. Each day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things. Small moments, like a kind word from a friend or a beautiful sunset, are just as meaningful. This practice trains your mind to focus on the positives in your life. Express your gratitude to others. Don't keep your gratitude to yourself. Let others know that you appreciate them. Whether it's a thank you note, a text message, or a face-to-face conversation, expressing gratitude not only strengthens your relationships, but also deepens your sense of connection. Mindfully appreciate the present moment. Throughout the day, take a few moments to pause and appreciate what's around you. Whether you're enjoying a meal, spending time with family, or simply sitting quietly, bring your attention to the present and allow yourself to feel gratitude for that moment. Real-life example: finding gratitude in everyday challenges. Gratitude isn't just about appreciating the good times, it's also about finding joy in challenges and setbacks. Let's say you're going through a difficult period at work. Maybe you're facing a tough project, dealing with a demanding boss, or struggling to balance your workload. It's easy to feel frustrated, stressed, and overwhelmed. But what if, instead, you chose to approach the situation with gratitude? You could be thankful for the opportunity to learn new skills, to grow in your career, or to prove to yourself that you're capable of overcoming challenges. By reframing your difficulties as opportunities for growth, you not only shift your mindset to a more positive place, but you also make the experience less stressful and more manageable. Gratitude and achieving goals. When you approach your goals with gratitude, you're less likely to feel burdened by the pressure to succeed. Instead of focusing on what you haven't achieved yet, you're able to appreciate the progress you've made and the journey you're on. Gratitude keeps you grounded in the present, allowing you to enjoy the process of working toward your goals, rather than constantly feeling like you're not enough or that you need to be somewhere else. For instance, if you're working toward a fitness goal, practicing gratitude for what your body can do today helps you stay motivated and positive. Instead of feeling impatient or dissatisfied because you haven't reached your ideal state yet, you can be thankful for the strength you're building, the energy you have, and the progress you're making along the way. Letting go of comparison through gratitude. A major obstacle to happiness is the habit of comparing yourself to others. It's easy to look at someone else's life, achievements, or possessions and feel like you're not doing enough. But gratitude helps you break free from the cycle of comparison. When you're grateful for what you have, you're less likely to envy what others have, and more likely to feel content with your own path. Think of social media, for example. It's a platform where comparison runs rampant. People are constantly sharing their highlight reel, and it's easy to feel like everyone else has a better life. But practicing gratitude for your own experiences, achievements, and journey helps you stay focused on what's real and valuable to you. You can appreciate others' success without letting it diminish your own sense of worth. Conclusion: gratitude as a way of life. Gratitude isn't just a feel-good practice, it's a powerful way to transform your life. By focusing on what you have, rather than what you lack, you open yourself up to joy, contentment, and inner peace. Gratitude allows you to live in the present moment, to appreciate the journey, and to see every experience, both good and bad, as an opportunity to learn and grow. The next time you catch yourself feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or dissatisfied, take a moment to practice gratitude. Look around you. Appreciate the people, opportunities, and moments that make life meaningful, and remind yourself that joy is found not in getting more, but in loving what you already have. When you cultivate gratitude, you'll find that life feels richer, more effortless, and full of unexpected blessings. 8. Embracing flexibility, adapting to life's changes. Change is inevitable. No matter how much we plan or prepare, life has a way of surprising us, throwing curveballs and steering us in directions we never anticipated. And while change can be unsettling, learning to embrace flexibility is one of the keys to living a balanced, effortless life. Flexibility is all about being open to change, adapting to new circumstances, and finding ways to make the best of whatever situation you find yourself in. Why flexibility is crucial for growth and peace. When we resist change, we create stress and tension. We get stuck in our ways, clinging to our expectations of how things should be, and feel frustrated when life doesn't go according to our plans. But when we learn to be flexible, we allow ourselves to grow, learn, and adapt. Flexibility means being willing to try new approaches, let go of outdated ideas, and find creative solutions to unexpected challenges. Imagine a tree in a storm. A rigid, unyielding tree is more likely to break under the pressure of strong winds, but a flexible tree that can bend and sway will survive the storm and continue to grow. The same principle applies to life. When we're rigid and unwilling to change, we're more likely to feel overwhelmed and defeated. But when we're flexible, we can roll with the punches, adjust our approach, and find new ways to move forward. Stoic philosophy on flexibility and adaptability. The Stoics believed in accepting the natural flow of life and adapting to whatever comes your way. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that obstacles aren't just things to be avoided, they're opportunities to grow and find new paths. When you're flexible, you don't see challenges as roadblocks. You see them as chances to learn, pivot, and strengthen your resolve. For the Stoics, flexibility was a way to find inner peace. They understood that life is full of uncertainties and that trying to control everything is a recipe for anxiety. By learning to be adaptable, you free yourself from the need to have everything go exactly as planned. You allow life to unfold as it will, knowing that you can adjust and thrive no matter what happens. How to cultivate flexibility in your life. Cultivating flexibility is a skill that requires practice and a willingness to let go of rigid thinking. Here are some practical ways to become more adaptable in your daily life. Embrace change as a constant. Instead of seeing change as something negative or unexpected, try to view it as a natural part of life. When things change, ask yourself, what new opportunities does this bring? Or, how can I use this situation to grow? Practice letting go of expectations. One of the main reasons we struggle with flexibility is because we're attached to a specific outcome. Practice letting go of the need for things to go a certain way, and be open to the idea that sometimes life has a better plan in store for you than what you initially imagined. Stay open to different perspectives. Flexibility isn't just about adapting to circumstances. It's also about being open to new ideas, viewpoints, and approaches. When faced with a challenge, consider multiple ways to approach it and be willing to change course if something isn't working. Real life. Example, navigating career changes. Let's say you've been working in the same job for a while, and suddenly the company goes through major changes, a new boss, a restructured team, or a shift in business focus. Your first instinct might be to resist these changes, to cling to the way things used to be, and to feel frustrated that your role is no longer what you expected. But being flexible means seeing this change as an opportunity to learn new skills, explore different roles within the company, or even consider a new career path altogether. Instead of feeling stuck or bitter about the changes, you can adapt by asking yourself, how can I use this situation to grow? Maybe you can develop a new skill set, take on a leadership role, or pursue a passion that you've always wanted to explore. Flexibility allows you to make the most of the opportunities that come your way, even when they're not what you originally planned for. Flexibility in relationships and social situations. Flexibility isn't just important in our professional lives. It also plays a crucial role in our relationships. Whether it's with family, friends, or partners, being adaptable helps you navigate conflicts, misunderstandings, and changing dynamics. For example, if a friend cancels plans at the last minute or a family member has different views than you, practicing flexibility allows you to respond with understanding and compassion rather than rigidity or frustration. In relationships, flexibility means being willing to compromise, to see things from the other person's perspective, and to be open to new ways of connecting. It's about letting go of the need for everything to go your way and finding a balance that works for everyone involved. By being flexible, you strengthen your relationships and create space for growth and mutual understanding. Learning to pivot and reframe challenges. Flexibility also means being able to pivot and reframe challenges as opportunities. Let's say you've been working toward a specific goal, like training for a marathon, starting a new business, or planning a big trip. But then, something happens that makes it impossible to follow through with your original plan. You could let this setback discourage you, or you could pivot and find a new way to achieve your goal. For example, if you're unable to run a marathon due to an injury, you could focus on other forms of exercise that allow you to stay active, like swimming or cycling. If your business idea doesn't take off as expected, you could use the experience to refine your approach, learn from your mistakes, and try again. Flexibility isn't about giving up on your goals. It's about finding new ways to achieve them when life takes an unexpected turn. Conclusion: flexibility as a path to effortless living. Flexibility is the key to navigating life's challenges with grace and ease. When you're flexible, you're not rigidly holding on to how things should be. You're open to change, willing to adapt, and ready to embrace new possibilities. You understand that life is full of ups and downs, and you trust your ability to adjust and thrive no matter what comes your way. The next time you face a situation that doesn't go according to plan, remember to be flexible. Ask yourself how you can make the most of the moment, how you can find a new path forward, and how you can use the experience to grow. When you embrace flexibility, life becomes less about fighting against the current and more about flowing effortlessly with it. 9. Practicing mindfulness, living in the present moment. One of the most impactful ways to achieve an effortless state of living is through the practice of mindfulness, the art of being fully present and aware of the current moment without judgment. It's about slowing down, paying attention to what's happening around you and within you, and experiencing life as it unfolds. When you practice mindfulness, you let go of the need to control every moment, worry about the future, or dwell on the past. You simply are. And in that state of being, life feels more balanced, meaningful, and effortless. What mindfulness really means. Mindfulness is often misunderstood as being calm or zoned out, but it's so much more than that. Mindfulness is an active state of awareness. It's engaging fully with whatever you're doing, whether it's working, walking, talking with a friend, or even eating a meal. When you're mindful, you're not thinking about your to-do list, stressing about tomorrow's challenges, or replaying yesterday's conversations. Instead, you're present, engaged, and fully immersed in the here and now. Think about a time when you were completely in the moment, when you felt a sense of peace, connection, and clarity. It might have been watching a sunset, playing a sport you love, or having a deep conversation with a close friend. In those moments, you weren't distracted by thoughts or worries. You were just there, experiencing life as it happened. That's mindfulness in action, and it's something you can cultivate more of in your daily life. The Stoic approach to mindfulness and presence. Mindfulness aligns closely with Stoic teachings. The Stoics believed in living with intention and being fully aware of your thoughts, actions, and environment. Marcus Aurelius, a key Stoic philosopher, wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." This means not letting your mind be consumed by what-ifs, regrets, or fears, but instead focusing on what you can do right now, in this moment, to live a good life. For the Stoics, mindfulness was about self-awareness and self-control. It was about recognizing your thoughts and emotions without letting them dominate your actions. By being mindful, you're able to respond to situations thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. This allows you to live more intentionally, make better decisions, and experience a deeper sense of peace. How to practice mindfulness in your daily life. Mindfulness is a skill that can be developed through small, simple practices. Here are some ways you can start bringing mindfulness into your day-to-day routine. Mindful breathing. One of the simplest ways to practice mindfulness is to focus on your breath. Take a few moments throughout the day to breathe deeply, paying attention to the sensation of the air entering and leaving your body. This practice helps you ground yourself in the present and brings your awareness back to the moment. Single tasking instead of multitasking. Multitasking divides your attention and makes it difficult to be present. Try focusing on one task at a time, whether it's eating a meal, working on a project, or having a conversation. Fully engage with what you're doing and notice how it feels to give it your undivided attention. Mindful walking or movement. Whenever you walk, move, or exercise, practice being mindful of how your body feels, how your muscles move, and how your feet touch the ground. Pay attention to your surroundings, the sounds, sights, and smells. This can turn even a simple walk into a rich, grounding experience. Real-life example: turning routine activities into mindful moments. One of the easiest ways to incorporate mindfulness into your life is to turn everyday activities into mindful moments. Think about something you do every day: brushing your teeth, drinking your morning coffee, or taking a shower. Normally, these activities are done on autopilot, with your mind wandering to other things. But what if you approached these moments mindfully? When you brush your teeth, pay attention to the sensation of the bristles on your gums and the taste of the toothpaste. When you drink your coffee, notice its warmth, aroma, and flavor. When you shower, feel the water on your skin and listen to the sound of the droplets. By bringing your full awareness to these small moments, you create space for peace and appreciation in your day. Mindfulness as a tool for managing stress and anxiety. One of the greatest benefits of mindfulness is its ability to reduce stress and anxiety. When you're mindful, you're not letting your mind get caught up in worries about the future or regrets about the past. You're focused on the now, And in the present moment, things are often much simpler than they seem. You're not overwhelmed by a million what-ifs. You're just living one moment at a time. Let's say you're feeling stressed about an upcoming deadline at work. Your mind might be racing with thoughts like, what if I don't finish on time? What if my boss isn't happy with my work? Practicing mindfulness helps you step away from those anxious thoughts and come back to the present. You can focus on the task at hand, what you need to do right now to move forward, rather than getting lost in the sea of what-ifs. This helps you approach challenges with a clearer, calmer mind. Mindfulness in relationships. Mindfulness isn't just a tool for managing stress. It's also a powerful way to deepen your relationships. When you're fully present with others, you listen more deeply, respond more thoughtfully, and connect more genuinely. Think about a time when someone gave you their full attention. It felt meaningful, right? When you practice mindfulness in your interactions, you're giving others that same gift of presence and connection. For example, the next time you're having a conversation with a loved one, put away your phone, make eye contact, and listen without thinking about how you're going to respond. Be fully there for them, and notice how it strengthens your bond and brings more meaning to the interaction. Conclusion: mindfulness as a path to effortless living. Mindfulness is a powerful practice that helps you slow down, appreciate the moment, and live life more fully. By being present, you let go of unnecessary worries, distractions, and mental clutter. You open yourself up to experiencing life as it is, without judgment or expectation. And in that state of mindfulness, everything feels more effortless. Your actions flow more naturally, your thoughts become clearer, and your sense of peace deepens. The next time you find yourself rushing through your day, worrying about the future, or feeling overwhelmed by life's demands, remember to bring your awareness back to the present moment. Breathe deeply, pay attention to what's happening around you, and let go of anything that's pulling you away from the now. When you practice mindfulness, you're not just living, you're living fully with intention, awareness, and joy. 10. Finding balance, the art of living in harmony. In a world that constantly pulls us in multiple directions, work, family, social life, self-improvement, finding balance can seem like an impossible task. Yet, balance is essential for living a life of fulfillment, peace, and effortless action. When you find balance, you align your actions with your values, create harmony between your responsibilities and your well-being, and move through life with a sense of flow rather than resistance. It's about knowing when to work hard and when to rest, when to take action and when to let go, and how to prioritize what matters most. What balance really means. Balance isn't about achieving a perfect state where everything in your life is equal. It's about finding the right proportion that works for you. It's about knowing that sometimes your work will demand more of your time and energy, while at other times your family or personal well-being will need more attention. Balance is fluid. It changes from day to day, and that's okay. What matters is that you remain aware of where your energy is going and make conscious choices to bring yourself back into harmony. Think of balance like riding a bicycle. When you're in motion, you're constantly making small adjustments to stay upright. You lean a little left, a little right, depending on the path you're on. If you stop making those adjustments, you'll fall. The same goes for life. Balance is an active, ongoing practice of paying attention to what you need, where your focus is, and making those small adjustments to keep yourself steady. The Stoic approach to balance and moderation. The Stoics believed in the concept of moderation. doing everything in the right amount without excess or deficiency. They valued a balanced life, where physical, emotional, and intellectual needs were met in harmony. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, wrote, "Let your desires and actions be balanced, and let your soul find a serene middle course." This means finding that middle ground where you're not overindulging in pleasure or depriving yourself of joy. For the Stoics, balance was about being intentional with your choices. It was about living in alignment with your values and ensuring that every action you take serves your well-being and growth. When you live with balance, you're not constantly chasing after extremes. You're centered, grounded, and able to enjoy life without letting any one area overwhelm you. How to cultivate balance in your life. Cultivating balance requires mindfulness, self-reflection, and a willingness to make adjustments as needed. Here's how you can start bringing more balance into your life. Set boundaries. One of the biggest obstacles to balance is overcommitting. Learn to set healthy boundaries around your time and energy. Say no to things that don't serve your well-being or align with your priorities. Remember, every time you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. Make sure your choices reflect your values. Prioritize self-care. Balance isn't just about meeting your external responsibilities. It's also about taking care of yourself. Make time for activities that nourish your mind, body, and soul, whether it's exercising, meditating, spending time in nature, or simply resting. Self-care isn't selfish. It's necessary for maintaining balance and showing up as your best self. Regularly reassess your commitments. Life is constantly changing, and what worked for you a month ago might not work for you now. Take time to regularly reassess your commitments, goals, and routines. Ask yourself if they're still serving you, or if they need to be adjusted to better align with your current needs. Real-life example: finding balance in work and personal life. Let's say you're someone who is deeply passionate about your career. You love your work and put in long hours to achieve your goals. But over time, you start to notice that your work is taking up all your energy. You're feeling burned out, your relationships are suffering, and your health is being neglected. In this situation, finding balance might mean setting clearer work boundaries, like leaving the office at a specific time or dedicating certain days to rest and recharge. By being intentional about your time and making space for your personal life, you're not taking away from your career, you're enhancing it. A balanced life allows you to show up more fully in all areas, bringing more creativity, focus, and energy to your work, while also enriching your personal experiences and relationships. Balance in emotional and mental well-being. Balance isn't just about time and activities. It's also about managing your emotional and mental well-being. This means recognizing when you're feeling overwhelmed, stressed, or disconnected, and taking the necessary steps to bring yourself back to a balanced state. It's about allowing yourself to feel and process emotions without being consumed by them, and learning to navigate life's ups and downs with resilience and grace. For instance, if you find yourself getting caught up in negative thoughts or ruminating over something that didn't go as planned, practicing balance might mean taking a break from overthinking and shifting your focus to something positive or constructive. It's about finding that sweet spot between acknowledging your feelings and not letting them take over your day. Balance in setting and achieving goals. Balance is also crucial when it comes to setting and working toward goals. It's great to have ambition and drive, but balance teaches you to pursue your goals with patience and sustainability. This means setting goals that are challenging but attainable, giving yourself time to rest and recharge, and not burning out in the process of trying to do it all. For example, if you have a goal to get in shape, finding balance means creating a workout routine that fits into your life without taking it over. It means pushing yourself when you're motivated, but also giving yourself grace on days when you're tired or need to rest. Balance in goal setting is about making consistent, steady progress over time, rather than trying to achieve everything at once. Conclusion: balance as a way to live with ease. Balance is about living in harmony with yourself, your environment, and the people around you. It's about being aware of where your energy is going, making adjustments as needed, and allowing yourself to flow with the natural rhythms of life. When you find balance, life feels less like a series of stressful sprints and more like a steady, enjoyable journey. The next time you find yourself feeling overwhelmed, overcommitted, or pulled in too many directions, take a moment to reassess. Ask yourself what you need to come back to balance and make the changes necessary to create more harmony in your life. Remember, balance isn't a destination, it's a practice, and as you cultivate more balance, you'll find that life feels more effortless, peaceful, and deeply fulfilling. And there you have it, 10 powerful principles that can help you live more effortlessly with more joy, balance, and peace. From embracing flexibility to finding flow, practicing patience and living mindfully, these ideas are all about letting go of the struggle and learning to move with life, not against it. And that's really what the art of not trying is all about, achieving more by doing less, and allowing life to unfold naturally while making intentional, balanced choices. Incorporating these principles into your daily life might not happen overnight, but each small step you take toward living more effortlessly will bring you closer to a life of greater peace, fulfillment, and ease. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. And every moment you choose to practice gratitude, mindfulness, balance, and self-compassion, you're choosing to live in a way that honors who you are and the life you want to create. I hope you found value in this episode and that these ideas inspire you to make some positive shifts in your life. If you did enjoy it, please consider hitting that like button and sharing this episode with your friends, family, or anyone who could benefit from learning how to live a life of effortless action. And if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes on self-improvement, Stoic wisdom, and finding deeper balance in life. Thank you so much for listening and being part of this journey. Remember, life is a journey meant to be enjoyed, not forced. So, take it one step at a time, let go of what you can't control, and trust in the power of living with grace and intention. Until next time, stay mindful, stay balanced, and take care.